I'm guessing Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Oh, God. Even that just sounds so snotty, doesn't it? I'm glad we don't. I like watching them from afar. I'm glad we don't have any of this crap. Or do we? The Windsor family, I mean, really, you should look up inbreeding, and it should have their pictures there. I mean, this is what happens when you're so inbred that you just kind of, you start falling apart and you look insane and you're probably a little retarded. And then you start thinking, maybe I could get away with having sex with kids. Anyway, he's, still under scrutiny for his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. But notice nobody is going to jail for actually having sex with children. Okay? That's not the accusation with anybody. Why was he arrested? He was arrested for wrongdoing. Well, I think having sex with underage kids is wrongdoing, but that again is not the wrongdoing. He apparently had some sort of misconduct with Jeffrey Epstein on possibly, is it secrets again? Because that's why the UK ambassador is in trouble, because he was releasing secrets to Jeffrey Epstein. And then the prime minister is in trouble because he knew that the UK ambassador to the United States was still friendly with Epstein, and it came up in the security search, and he said, just dismiss it. And then he later said, no, I didn't know anything about that he was friends with it. And now we have the documents show he did know. So nobody's going to jail at all for any of this stuff. And there's a new poll out that most Americans say that, in fact, 7 out of 10, 69% of Americans, this is really quite large, believe their views were captured very well or extremely well in the statement that the way the files have been handled with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein show that the wealthy and powerful people are rarely held accountable. That's a problem when you have 70% of the population of the United States of America saying if you're powerful or you're wealthy, you get away with anything, including raping children. 17% of the respondents believe the statement aligns with their views somewhat well. Okay, so you got nobody left. I don't even think in this poll you have anybody going, I don't know. And you can't take a poll about anything with people having an opinion. I don't have an opinion. I don't know. I can't comment on. Nope. Everybody's cleared. Everybody's clear on this one. It's not good. 53% of respondents strongly agree that the files have lowered my trust in political and business leaders, along with 24% who say somewhat agree with it. Republicans, 33% strongly agree. 35% somewhat agree. So you're almost at 70% just with Republicans. 71% Democrats strongly agree. 17% somewhat agree with Democrats. I mean, this again is a little like, hey, should we ask for ID before you vote? This is universal. And yet, all that we're seeing is people playing politics with it. That's it. They're just playing politics with it. They're saying one thing, and then they get in and they do it. We're going to do some investigations. And then what happens to those investigations? I mean, how long do we have to go with these unanswered questions with Jeffrey Epstein? Honestly. UN panel on Epstein. UN panel says that Epstein, his crimes may constitute crimes against humanity. That's the UN, crimes against humanity. But who was having sex with kids? Who was it? I don't have that answer. Do you have that answer? Have lots of suspicions, lots of suspects, but nobody's been named as doing that. Here's a guy who ran in the highest circles of power. The UN now says his crimes are crimes against humanity. A man who trafficked minors, or did he? A man who somebody was operating in plain sight. Everybody seemed to know it. A man who died in federal custody, or did he? Was his body taken out, or was that just a bunch of boxes underneath a sheet? What the hell? At a time when we need trust more than ever, this is happening. Well, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Well, really, because what's following is not clarity at all. Not. Does anybody? I have more questions on this every time I think we're going to get the answers. Then they release stuff, and you're like, wait a minute. Well, that just opens up more. It's not clarity. It's fog. And it's happening everywhere. Both sides of the Atlantic. Investigations into child exploitation rings. You hear about that? The grooming gangs in England. We care so much about our children. Well, you know what? The problem with the Republicans, the problem with the conservatives is they don't care about your children. Okay, here's a group they're grooming children to rape them. It's a massive problem. Fierce debates going on. The grooming gangs are all there. Should we investigate it? I don't know. Let's have Parliament vote on it. And Parliament votes no. We shouldn't look into this. Wait, what? What? I don't think you care about our children. I'm beginning to think you're not really human. I mean, really. I mean, what happened to your humanity? Do you have any humanity where, you know what, I think we should get down to the child rape stuff? Here in the United States, unresolved questions about Epstein's network, missing records, they've destroyed, who knew what, when they knew it, who was involved. And the Republicans and the Democrats, I think, have both done it. And then there's the border. Tens of thousands of migrant children crossed into the United States over the last several years under Biden. Nobody said anything about it. The government reports have acknowledged that many were released to sponsors with no real follow-up, and then they just kind of disappeared. Now, what was happening there? Okay, this is not partisan rhetoric. This is documented failure. Now we found them, and nobody seems to care that we found, 100,000 of these kids? Where were they? What was happening to them? I don't see any follow-up. And the outrage that we all have on any topic lasts about 72 hours, and then we move on. Have you noticed that one? I don't know what that says about us. Does it say that we're overwhelmed, that there's just a new thing to be outraged on every 72 hours, that we're exhausted, that's all we can do? Does it say that we're fragmented into so many tribes that we're only pursuing accountability when it hurts the other team? Or does it say something even darker, that we've become totally accustomed to scandal? Or worse, this is the one I really fear. Nothing's real anymore. Child rape's not real anymore. Our outrage isn't real anymore. Because why do we have to have the media, both new and old, keep fueling our outrage? If we didn't have social media, Epstein would be gone. It would be over. Because the mainstream media would not be covering. Okay? So, what does that say about us? There was a time in Great Britain, in the West, in the entire West, if there was a whiff of corruption at high levels, national reckoning. I mean, Watergate, for the love of Pete. When's the last time? Clinton, I think, changed all of that. I did not have sex with that woman. Yeah, you did. You did. Well, it depends on what your definition of sex is. And we just moved on. And I don't think we've ever recovered from that. Now, as long as you just wait it out, it just goes away. But now there's something new. It's not going away. It's becoming worse. It's becoming this national poison that is turning into something much bigger than it probably is. I'm not saying that it's not big. It's huge. But because nobody's doing anything about it, it's only, eventually you get to, you know why? Because they're actually lizard people that come from space and they're eating our children after raping them. That's what it'll turn into eventually, because it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And if nobody addresses it, people just go off the deep end and nothing changes. If powerful people abuse children, aren't we all kind of in a place where, like, yeah, they should face justice? I don't care if it's a Republican. I don't care if it's a Democrat. I don't care if it's an independent. I don't care your title, your party, your passport. I don't care. I don't care. You're raping kids, you go to jail. And part of me kind of hopes that the institution, that you're sitting in, they still hate pedophiles as much as they always did. You know what I'm saying? If any institution covered them, why aren't we exposing that? And not selectively, not strategically, completely. Is there no one that is really fighting for this? Because I don't see them. At least high up. And the other problem is, what are you fighting for? Because as I've said for 2 years now, I don't believe any of this stuff actually exists anymore. The Democrats had it. The Republicans had it. The Democrats didn't use anything against Donald Trump when it was in their possession, and they'd use anything. They make stuff up about Donald Trump. If they actually had stuff on him with Jeffrey Epstein, you don't think they would have used it? So they don't have it. Now that the Republicans have it, now they can just fuel Trump rumors. You know what? He's in the Epstein files. It appears that what's in the Epstein files, it appears as though he was one of the only guys that was standing up against him, that were in those circles. So they had it. They didn't use it. Now, when they had it, they probably cleaned their own closet out. And then the Republicans got it. And there's been enough time for the Republicans to have it that they clean their own closet out. So I don't know what you're going to get out of this. Because accountability has to be rooted in evidence, not headlines. But when the public believes that elites operate under different rules, when governments fail to explain themselves clearly, when investigations just disappear into bureaucratic silence, trust implodes. And when trust collapses, societies fracture. You cannot build a free republic on suspicion. You can't. And you can't preserve it if the powerful are shielded from the consequences. The issue is not gossip. It's not tabloid thrills. The issue is this. Do we still believe that justice applies upward or only downward? If children were harmed anywhere, that demands relentless, transparent investigation. It demands consequences. If governments lied, consequences, exposure. If claims are unverified, you have to say that too. Because abandoning the truth in pursuit of justice only destroys both of them. And this moment matters. Because a society that stops demanding accountability decays. A society that stops caring about vulnerable children, whether trafficked abroad or lost in bureaucratic systems at home, it's lost its moral compass. The question is not whether one country is worse than another, one party is worse. The question is, do we still have the courage to demand the truth even when it implicates our side? Justice without favoritism, truth without hysteria, protection of children without politics. If we can't manage that, then the scandal is not under one name, Epstein, anymore. The scandal is us. Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now, sign up, no interruptions, just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch, take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.